Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Anytime the dominant society tries to push anything Greek or Roman down my throat, I'm giving it the side eye anyway. We don't recognize that when we are supporting a lot of these brands, we are supporting like the overall oppression of our people. We're supporting the use of our people's bodies for entertainment and the discardment of those bodies when they do something like create another member of our community. I was not fooled by Nike's thing with Colin Kaepernick. I didn't think Colin Kaepernick ever did anything amazing in the first place, which is why you guys never heard me talk about him, because I just didn't care about his little kneeling. And Nike has never been a company that I've trusted. Hey guys, this is Irene, and I just wanted to talk about the Nike Olympic situation with regard to women and pregnancy and just some of the shenanigans going on there. So I want to start off by saying I'm not a Nike person. I don't wear Nike clothing. I don't buy it for my kids. I don't buy them Nike shoes. I never have. I don't promote the company at all, mostly because I feel that the dominant society is constantly trying to force Greek society down our throats. And I feel like a lot of people aren't aware, but Nike is a kind of idolatry to the Greek goddess Nike. And so their swoosh and their constant work with the Olympics, which is another, Greek and Roman sport that they really loved, is just too much for me, like, quite frankly. Like, I just don't like them constantly trying to force their most debaucherous and vagrant and disgusting society down my throat. And so when I see them doing it, I literally just detach. My mind just detaches. And so I'm not surprised by what I'm hearing here. So you know that Nike has been pandering to Black people and these liberal-minded individuals who are like closet racists and want to feel good about themselves. And they've pulled a half-Black person, Colin Kaepernick, out, and they're have him as being some sort of representation of something that they really don't believe in. I've not seen his commercial. I've seen clips of it like here and there as people on YouTube talk about it, but I will insert a clip of the commercial here in case you haven't seen it.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything. So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
So anyway, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen that commercial. In the same breath that Nike is saying this, you have Black women who are some of the most decorated Olympians on earth who are not able to get simple things like maternity leave, who lose contracts, who pair with Nike for years and years and then are just discarded when they decide to procreate. And I want to just feature some little highlights from their commentary here.
I'm Allison Felix, and I've won 9 Olympic track and field medals, and that makes me one of the most decorated women in track and field history.
And if we want to be an athlete and a mother, well, that's just crazy. No, seriously, it's not a good idea. Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
The culture around pregnancy in track and field is silence. Get pregnant and you hide it.
Pro sports and motherhood? That's just crazy.
I've done a lot of promotion for Nike. They've used me in a lot of their stores and a lot of the campaigns.
The sports industry allows for men to have a full career, and when a woman decides to have a baby, it pushes women out at their prime.
I want protection around maternity.
I'm Alicia Montano. I'm an Olympian, I'm a national champion, and I've been one of the top 3 runners in the entire world. And I'm a mother.
I want to be able to sign a contract that says there is maternity rights.
When I was pregnant with Linnea, I kept training. I even ran in a big race, and it was a pretty big deal. They called me the pregnant runner.
Why this race was so important for you to run 8 months pregnant?
I wanted to turn stereotypes about pregnancy upside down.
That African American women are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth and twice as more likely to have complications. And that's exactly what happened to me.
I was sponsored by Nike, and then when I told them that I wanted to have a baby during my career, they told me, simple, we'll just pause your contract and stop paying you.
It was really difficult for me to see the Dream Crazier campaign. I mean, there are thousands of other female athletes who represent Nike who don't have that same protection.
The U.S. Olympic Committee strips our health insurance if we do not stay at the top of our game during our pregnancy. And this just makes our comeback even harder. And I fought tooth and nail to make sure that this would not happen to other women. I started a maternity leave legislation so we would not lose our health insurance. I taped my abs together because they were torn apart. I proved them wrong. I won a national championships at 6 months postpartum. I won another national championship at 10 months postpartum while still nursing my baby girl.
This is a great opportunity for Nike to really spell out what the new agreement is. What protection do women have? What does that look like? Are we going to face reductions returning from childbirth? Is that going to be a 12-month period? We need to see what does that actually look like and what does that actually mean.
Historically, a few female athletes had performance-based reductions applied. In 2018, we standardized our approach so that no female athlete is penalized financially for pregnancy. You are my hero.
Thank you.
You have a voice that needs to be heard in this. Companies like Nike have ads that say "Dream Crazy." Is that what they're doing in actuality in their policy for women athletes?
Absolutely not. So we're at a time right now where we need advertising to marry reality, that they are not backing up what they are preaching. You know, they are making this very grand gesture when they make these ads that are moving people.
Just do it.
Yeah, just do it is their slogan. But ultimately, behind closed doors, everything that is a dream for women in particular is something that they are basically stuffing you down and saying, actually, that's not really for you.
That right after, was it your first or your second pregnancy, you essentially taped your muscles together, and 6 months after giving birth, you won what race?
Yeah, I won at 6
Because we were like, wow! We all had tears in our eyes watching this.
Yeah, 6 months after giving birth, I won a USA national title, and then 10 months, I won my second national title, in which I qualified for the World Championships. I flew to Beijing, China, pumped and shipped my milk back to the United States.
Several times.
From Beijing, China.
Yeah. Your standard approach is standard for men. I want to see not just Nike, the sports industry, implement practices in place that specifically protect female athletes. And that includes clauses for maternity and pregnancy that explicitly say you are protecting this class.
Yeah, and I think that we don't recognize that when we are supporting a lot of these brands, we are supporting like the overall oppression of our people. We're supporting the use of our people's bodies for entertainment and the discardment of those bodies when they do something like create another member of our community. And that is what we're seeing here with the Nike situation. So I was not fooled by Nike's thing with Colin Kaepernick. I didn't think Colin Kaepernick ever did anything amazing in the first place, which is why you guys never heard me talk about him, because I just didn't care about his little kneeling. It just wasn't important to me. When he got the Nike deal, to me, that just proved my point, which was he wasn't about crap. And Nike has never been a company that I've trusted. Like I said, anytime the dominant society tries to push anything Greek or Roman down my throat, I'm giving it the side eye anyway. The Olympics isn't a game that I like or care about. Any reporting I do on it is just to make a point about how problematic they are, like this. And so it's worth thinking about, like, are we going to continue to support Nike? Are we going to continue to support the Olympics? Are we going to continue supporting the dominant society, shoving their ancestral, BS down our throat? Like, that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. And to me, I say no. I don't want any parts of it. And these women are speaking out, but see, I only feel so sorry for them because they're also not trying to detach. And that's partly, I understand, when you've built your whole life around running and you're already at the pinnacle of where you can get with that, which is essentially the Olympics and deals with brands, then you want to not have to give all that up. But the same way they want us to care about their plight, I would love to see them care about the greater picture. And the greater picture is we need to not engage the dominant society on these levels anyway, right? And not just call for sympathy when they kind of turn on us. When I think of feminists, just like as a final thought, I think that they often are too focused on gender dynamics and wanting women to be just like men, instead of wanting to protect women in the space that they are in, which is that we are different from men. So women are so obsessed, these feminist women are so obsessed with dragging men, with pointing out the faults of men, with trying to make women be able to behave like men, with yelling equal, equal, equal. But the thing is, in some cases, we actually need additional and different treatment than men because, newsflash, we aren't actually men. And so these Olympians are facing this right now. You're not a man. So when you're not a man, you know, a male Olympian who has a child doesn't face the same challenges as a female Olympian that has a child. And so that's where the equality and we want to be just like you bandwagon starts to get a little shaky, right? Because then you're going to want somebody to acknowledge you're not just like men. Right? Then all of a sudden you want somebody to acknowledge that you have a womb and that you're built differently. But any other time we want people to pretend like that's not the case. And so I think we have to send a singular message as women, which is, yes, you're equally as valuable. No, you shouldn't be oppressed because you're a woman. But at the same time, we can't just choose to play the womb card, you know, and to point out the obvious differences between men and women when it suits us. And then every other time we want to act like men and women are just the same and we can do everything just the same. Well, if we're just the same, that's why just like a man who is out of the sport for a while, they want you to come back a certain way and they don't care that you gave birth. That's where the feminist argument and the feminist ideology really comes back to bite us in the butt. And it doesn't help us. It doesn't help us. But that's just like a bigger conversation. When I just hone in on the Nike and Olympic part of it, like, we don't belong there anyway, in my opinion. We don't belong in a space to be consumers for Nike. We don't belong in a space to be bodies to play in a sport that is just reliving the glory of the dominant society's most disgusting, empire ever. Like, we just don't belong there in the first place. And so when you get into situations with people whose agenda has nothing to do with caring about you or being about you, but has to do with upholding and uplifting themselves, you can't expect anything less than for the behavior toward you to be substandard. So to act shocked, the other side of the coin is you can't. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section about all those things. Are women, claiming equality in one hand and then wanting to be recognized as different on the other hand? Is the feminist movement hurting actual women's causes that need to be addressed? Is Nike full of it? And do we need to just not purchase Nike products? Should we care about what goes on in the Olympics? And is it wrong to come swooping in to protect Black Olympians when they're participating in a system that is designed to uphold the dominant society's ancestral cultures? Like, where do we fall in this as a community? I'm curious to hear what you think. I'll talk to you guys later.
If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. And if you want to support my content, feel free to join my Patreon.